My name is Andy, and here's a fun fact to start your day. Biologists track something called a hunting success rate. It basically measures how often an animal goes after prey and actually catches it. Lions, somewhere around 25%. Great white sharks, around 55%. Now there's an animal that sits well above both of those. It clocks in between 60 and 70%. And there's a decent chance one of them is currently napping on your sofa or sitting next to your keyboard doing absolutely nothing helpful. We're talking about cats. And before you go, yeah, obviously cats hunt. This video is going to explain why your cat does half the things it does. And the explanation is going to be a little uncomfortable. Let's start with the basics, because most people have a pretty casual understanding of what they've let into their house. Cats are what scientists call obligate hypercarnivores. That just means their whole body, their digestion, their muscles, their eyesight, their hearing, is built entirely around hunting and eating meat. That's it. That's the whole biological brief. Their digestive system can't process plant nutrients efficiently. Their eyes are built to detect the exact movement pattern of a small running animal. And their hearing. It picks up ultrasonic frequencies, the same high-pitched sounds that mice and rats use to talk to each other, sounds that are completely outside what any human ear can detect. Every part of a cat is basically a specialized hunting tool, and the numbers back that up. Studies tracking cat hunting behavior, including research published in Nature Communications, recorded a kill success rate of 60 to 70%. To put that in perspective, a lion succeeds roughly 1 in 4 hunts. Your cat is succeeding roughly 2 in 3. The American Bird Conservancy estimates that cats in the U.S. alone account for somewhere between 1.3 and 4 billion bird deaths per year, and up to 22 billion small mammals. That's not a rounding error. That's a significant ecological footprint from an animal that also somehow has its own line of holiday-themed pajamas at PetSmart. Now here's where it gets interesting from a behavior standpoint. Most cats in the U.S. are indoor cats, which means that entire hunting system, the eyes, the hearing, the reflexes, has nowhere to go. Animal behaviorists call this predatory frustration. The drive doesn't just switch off because there's no mouse available. It reroutes into whatever is nearby. The random sprinting around the apartment at midnight, that's the hunting drive running with no target. Knocking things off tables? That's the same paw reflex cats use to check if prey is still moving. Staring intensely at a blank wall, they're probably hearing something in the ultrasonic range. Something is definitely there. You just can't hear it. So your cat isn't being weird. Your cat is a fully functional predator that has made a lifestyle adjustment. Mostly. To understand why cats are the way they are, you have to go back to where the whole thing started. And that takes us back about 10,000 years to the Middle East. Specifically to the Fertile Crescent, which is the region where humans first figured out how to farm. Once humans started farming, they started storing grain, large amounts of it. And wherever grain was stored in large amounts, rodents showed up to eat it. And wherever rodents showed up, a small wild cat called the Near Eastern wildcat was already in the area. Here's what didn't happen. Nobody invited them. There was no plan. No ancient farmer sat down and thought, you know what my grain problem needs? A small predator. The cats just noticed the rodents, followed them to the food stores, started hunting there regularly. And over time, because the food was reliable and the humans weren't chasing them off, they started hanging around. Slowly, across many generations, cats that were a little more comfortable around humans survived better than ones that weren't. The calmer ones got more food. The more curious ones learned the patterns of human settlements. And somewhere in that process, without any human directing it, domestication started happening. So essentially, no one invited cats. They saw an opportunity and they took it, which, honestly, tracks. A 2017 genetic study published in Nature Ecology and Evolution traced how domestic cats spread out of the Middle East and across the world. And it found something that researchers found pretty striking. The genetic difference between your house cat and its wild ancestor is tiny, almost negligible. Compare that to the gap between a dog and a wolf, which is massive because humans spent thousands of years actively shaping dogs through selective breeding. Nobody shaped cats, cats shaped the situation, then they moved in. Now here's the part that makes the cat story different from basically every other pet story. With dogs, the bonding psychology is pretty straightforward. Dogs are pack animals. they transferred that pack loyalty to humans. A dog genuinely sees you as part of its social group. Studies have shown that dogs release oxytocin, the bonding chemical, when they interact with their owners, the same chemical humans release around people they love. Cats don't operate that way. Research from the University of Lincoln found that cats don't show the same attachment patterns to their owners that dogs do. They're not socially dependent on humans. They don't need the group dynamic the way dogs do. What cats show instead is something researchers describe as selective trust. They observe you over time. They make a judgment call about whether you're worth engaging with. And then, if you pass that evaluation, they build a relationship with you, on their terms, at their pace. In other words, a dog's default is to like you. A cat's default is to watch you for a while first, which honestly explains a lot about why cat people spend so much energy trying to understand whether their cat actually likes them. Here's a fun fact. Adult wild cats almost never meow at each other. The meow is mostly a kitten-to-mother sound. Domestic cats, however, use it constantly, but primarily toward humans, not toward other cats. Toward us. The working theory is that cats essentially developed an extended communication system specifically for interacting with people, and research suggests they adjust the pitch and urgency of different meows based on what has worked before with specific people. Your cat didn't learn to speak your language. It developed its own meow as operating system for getting results out of you. That's the sentence right there. Here's the observation that makes this funny. Humans have built an entire industry around earning the approval of an animal that may still be deciding. There are books on how to communicate better with your cat, YouTube channels dedicated to understanding cat body language, apps that analyze your cat's behavior, smart cameras so you can check what they're doing while you're at the office. The animal that chose to move in with us, without being asked, has also somehow gotten us to monitor them remotely for their comfort. And the cat is not stressed about any of this. Let's look at a real example of what that 60 to 70% kill rate looks like when it operates in an environment that wasn't ready for it. In the late 1800s, a lighthouse keeper moved to Stevens Island off the coast of New Zealand. He brought his cat with him. One cat. Stevens Island was home to a small, flightless bird called the Stevens Island wren, a species found nowhere else on Earth. Within roughly a year, the wren was gone, extinct. The entire species. Now, the full story has some nuance. Other factors may have contributed, but the cat's role in the wren's rapid decline is well documented in conservation biology literature. It speaks something important about what happens when a 60 to 70% efficient predator enters an ecosystem that never evolved defenses against it. Island birds like the Stevens Island wren had no instinct to be afraid of cats. They'd never encountered them before. They had no learned behavior for it. And a predator performing at full efficiency against prey with no defensive adaptation is, from an ecological standpoint, a very uneven situation. The American Bird Conservancy uses cases like this consistently to explain why feral and outdoor cat populations are one of the more significant conservation challenges in North America today. Not because cats are dangerous in some dramatic sense, because they're just very, very good at what they were built to do. Here's a human behavior pattern that's pretty interesting to look at. There are roughly 45 million households in the United States that have at least one cat. Cats are the second most popular pet in the country. There are more pet cats in the US than there are people in Canada. And yet, research consistently shows that a significant number of cat owners misread basic cat body language on a regular basis. A 2019 study from Oregon State University found that people frequently mistake stress signals in cats for neutral or even affectionate behavior. They interpret a cat moving away as shyness. They miss the difference between a cat that wants interaction and one that is communicating, pretty clearly by cat standards, that it would like some space. Psychologists call this anthropomorphic projection. We map our own emotional experience onto an animal and fill in the gaps with whatever makes the most sense to us, which is understandable. It's how humans make sense of things. But with cats, it produces some interesting misreadings. The slow blink. That one actually does check out. Research suggests it's a genuine signal of relaxed trust between a cat and a person it's comfortable with. The cat sitting on your laptop while you're working. Not affection. Studies point to simple thermoregulation. The laptop is warm. You are incidentally nearby. The cat knocking your glass of water off the counter while maintaining eye contact. Science has a few theories on this one. The most supported is that it's an attention-seeking behavior the cat developed because it produces a strong, consistent, reliable human reaction. Your cat has observed what you do when that happens. It has stored that information, and it is deploying it intentionally. That's not mischief. That's applied behavioral research conducted on you. In 2007, a cat named Oscar was the subject of a write-up in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is not a publication that typically features cats. Oscar lived at a nursing and rehabilitation center in Providence, Rhode Island. Staff began noticing a pattern. Oscar would seek out and settle beside specific patients in the facility, and those patients, almost without exception, would pass away within a few hours of his visit. Over several years, Oscar's behavior was documented across more than 100 cases. The facility eventually began notifying families when Oscar chose to sit with a resident because his presence had become a more reliable indicator than some of the standard monitoring systems in place. The most likely explanation is olfactory. Cats have an extraordinarily sensitive sense of smell, and research suggests they can detect the biochemical changes that occur in the human body in the final stages of life, changes that are below the detection threshold of human senses entirely. Oscar wasn't doing anything mysterious. He was detecting a very specific physical state using a sensory system that is just built very differently from ours. But here's why this story gets cited so often in animal behavior discussions. We spend a lot of time assuming cats are mostly decorative, occasionally entertaining, occasionally inconvenient. Oscar's case is a useful reminder that the animal we've been watching knock things off tables is also running a detection system sophisticated enough to identify something human. Medical equipment wasn't reliably catching first. Both of those things are the same animal, in the same building, probably napping between shifts. So, let's take a step back and look at what humans have done with all of this. We know cats are highly efficient predators. We know they moved in with us entirely on their own initiative. We know they observe us and learn what produces a response. We know their sensory system runs at a level ours doesn't come close to. And what we have done with that information is build a $150 billion global pet industry, a significant portion of which is dedicated to cats. There are cats on social media with more followers than most TV personalities. There are luxury cat condos that cost more than a lot of people's monthly rent, cat cafes, cat hotels, monthly subscription boxes delivering artisanal treats to cats who were, genetically speaking, hunting for their own food about 15 minutes ago in evolutionary time. There is a market for cat strollers, for people who want to take their cats on walks but whose cats have decided that walking is beneath them. Think about the structure of this arrangement from a purely logical standpoint. A wild animal noticed that humans had reliable food and shelter. It moved in, made itself comfortable, learned which human behaviors produce food and which ones produce attention, developed specific vocalizations to trigger human responses. And 10,000 years later, that animal has its own merchandise section, a dedicated Instagram grid, and a human who films its daily routine for content. The original deal was, cats get food and shelter, humans get rodent control. It is safe to say the deal has expanded significantly since then, mostly in one direction. So the cat running a 70% kill rate and the cat slow blinking at you from across the room, those aren't two contradictory versions of the same animal. They're just the full picture of one animal that has been playing a very long game.